Good morning, everyone. This is John with the Yard to Table Appalachian Homesteading channel, and welcome back this morning with me. We're going to talk about some things I knew nothing about, still know very little about. But a couple of months ago, I never realized there were so many different types of fertilizer. Or there's bone meal fertilizer, liquid fish fertilizer, there's organic fertilizer, there's chemical fertilizer, there's fertilizer with different NPK. And by the way, what the heck is that NPK anyways? Oh gosh. Anyways, it's been a lot to learn, but it's been fun learning, and along the way I've made a few mistakes and tried to share those with you so that you could not make them too. One of the things I've been able to do is buy some things, different types of fertilizer, and try it out. One of the things that we did on one of the previous videos is we used this Epsoma berry tone that's designed specially for strawberries. Now, the NPK that I was talking about is the nitrogen, phosphate, and potassium. There's three different elements there that make up what helps the plants grow, and without those in the soil, you really just have dirt. Without any type of nutrients in the soil, very hard to get this to grow. Now, we're going to do some things, and we're going to talk about the difference in blood meal and bone meal, mainly this morning. And I'm going to plant some bush beans that I have. I thought they was climbing beans when I bought them, but no, that's another mistake. There's not all beans climb. So these are bush beans that I have planted. But that's all right. I've got some ornamental gourds, as you can see right here, starting to grow up through here. So the beans would be crowded. So we're going to put these bush beans right here. And I've just been growing these in pots. They do not like being up potted or started like this at all. So their survival is going to be dependent on whether they take to the fertilizer. I see Angel back here in the background. She's back here wanting to get into the bone meal, because that's exactly what that is, or the blood meal, or any of the organic fertilizers that I've been using, because they're made up of animal byproducts such as blood or bone or manure. So yeah, she's been fascinated with eating stuff when I put it out. So one thing we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the powder bone meal that comes in a bag like this, the organic. And this is a brand I bought at Walmart, and this has a 3-15-0 on it. It has a little bit of nitrogen in there, and the nitrogen is something that we're going to talk about, and the potassium and the phosphate. And I can't say phosphate, no, can't say it, but that's the middle number. And so one of the things about why I got so much here is, originally in planting most of everything in here, I used this generalized garden fertilizer, herb and vegetable organic. They call it garden tone. I use some other Epsoma products in up potting some things, and it worked really well. But this is more like a 3-4 rating or something in that area. This is a more general all the way across, and I did put this in about everything that we planted. But now we need to change that up a little bit. I'm finding out that's not going to be good just to keep things going. Yeah, there's other things that we add in there. We could have added, and I did not add, I did add a little bit of blood meal to a few things, but I should have added more blood meal in the very beginning and planting some of these. But I didn't, because the blood meal is high in nitrogen. Let's see if it says it here, 14% nitrogen, 1400. So this would promote, the nitrogen promotes the growing of the green leaves of it. Once it's growing leaves and bushing out, whatever it might be, tomatoes or peppers or cucumbers, it needs that nitrogen in the beginning as it starts growing. But once it starts fruiting, once we start seeing blooms on here, and we're ready for it to bloom. Now, some people may pick those blooms back another few weeks, and some people will leave them alone. Now, I did pick the blooms off of the peppers, and some of the tomatoes when they were still in the garage. I did not let them bloom because I knew they did not. I was bringing them in and out every day, and they were in small pots like this, or maybe I did up pot them a little bit to the bigger pots like these right here. I had the peppers in these. I had 22 peppers in these size pots, bringing them in and out every day. That gets hard. So I planted them, but in planting them, I did use this all-purpose organic granule fertilizer. Let me get a little bit of it out here. I don't really like it. It will kind of irritate your hands a little bit, but it's a granule that you can see right here. I did put that in there, mix that in the soil, but that takes a while to break down, and takes at least 2 weeks up to a month for the granule organic to break down. So even with the bone meal that we're going to work with today, let me find the bone meal. We're going to put bone meal in because this phosphorus here promotes bigger blooms, as it says on here. It is for promotes better vegetables. So this is going to, this NPK, this 15 in the middle of the phosphorus is going to, oh, got a bug there, is going to help anything that's blooming, like the tomatoes. If it does not have blooms on it this morning, I'm not going to use any fertilizer on it. I will only fertilize the things that have some blooms on it, or tomatoes or whatever. But we're going to use this as I plant it in the beans, but this won't work right now. It's going to take weeks, maybe months for this to start breaking down and work. So what good does that do, John? Because we need help now. Well, that's why I've been holding up this organic Alaska Fish Fertilizer, they call it. It says for abundant colorful flowers, but it's a 0-10-10. It's got the phosphorus and the potassium in there, or they call it potash, I guess, also, or phosphate. 10% phosphate, 10% potash, soluble potash. So this is a liquid soluble, and we're going to mix it up in a 2-gallon sprayer. You're supposed to put 1 cap per gallon, and 1 gallon should cover 25 square feet. So once we plant, I got 3 bean plants we're going to plant, and that's all right here today. But we're going to put them in, we're going to plant them and dig them in and put them right here, these bush beans. And I probably will still put it right here close so that the trellis right here can support some of the beans in the weight, because they're going to be huge, like big bush bean. Let's hope anyways. But so why do we use the organic, John? Why are we using organic in here today? Why do we not just use a synthetic like Miracle-Gro that we've used on our flowers for many years, no problem, you know, to use synthetics probably on our flowers. We're not eating that, and it's not so much that the synthetic's bad to eat, it's that the synthetic fertilizers, the chemical fertilizers, kills out our microorganisms. I didn't know we needed microorganisms in our dirt or our soil. Well, actually, that's the difference in dirt and soil. Then I had a whole video that I made on that, about the difference in dirt and soil. And with no microorganism, nothing alive in that, it's dirt. But with microorganisms, then you have soil, and the soil then breaks down and continues to make nutrients, whether it have earthworms or microorganisms of whatever kind in there. That way, it continues to be a ecosystem in itself, and the earthworms will come and stay in here with the organic fertilizer, but the synthetic fertilizer, which is way cheaper and easier to use and water soluble most of the time, will kill out the soil, and then we'll really just have dirt. So the organics, yeah, it's more expensive, but this is stuff that I'm going to eat and probably give to some people, because I'm going to have more of certain things than I'll need. I already had some people asking for some lettuce, and I'm going to try to get her some as soon as I can before it gets gone. And the heat's been terrible. Today it's going to be 89 degrees. This morning it's like, I was out here at 6 o'clock this morning, and it's already 74 degrees at 6 o'clock, and it's going to be like 90 almost here today. It's going to probably break a record high for like the middle of May. It's terrible, terrible, terrible. So we're going to use 1 tablespoon of this in here, and I do have a pump sprayer over here that we're going to use. Let me get that, and we'll mix this up. Oh, I got some coffee here. Let me get one more drink of coffee because I'm getting bugs in it. Pour that out there, put that over there, and so we're going to go ahead and mix up this water soluble fish fertilizer so that I can now give a boost of this phosphorus in there to make blooms. And we made some mistakes on some of our flowers we planted. Some of them were not hardened off like I did some other stuff like the plants. I'd bring them in and out. We went, and I didn't think about them being flowers and not hardening them off or not reading the directions on the back on where they're supposed to be planted. And that's Angel right there. She's sniffing for the fertilizer because she enjoys eating it, and you got to keep that up from their dogs or they'll be in it. And do not put the bone meal just on top of your plants around them. You're going to bury that underneath the mulch and down in the soil, or the neighborhood dogs will be digging up your yard. So this is the first time I've opened it. It's supposed to have quite the smell to it. So I can see that I'm gonna be able to make quite a few gallons of this right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the lid back on that. And I got my little handy cart over here that I like to roll out here and bring things in and out with. And put that right there and put some stuff out of the way as we're not going to need it. So the blood meal today, we're not going to use. This is nitrogen. Everything that is blooming no longer needs nitrogen because that would just make it grow more leaves and not focus on the fruit. It would have a very bushy plant with very small tomatoes or peppers or gourds or whatever. So we're going to basically use the bone meal for long term to kick in here in a month or so. And then we're also going to use the, clean that off there. We're going to use this, oh, listen to that. We're going to pump this up, and I love this pressurized pump sprayer by Ortho because I don't have to pump. I'm going to go ahead and hit some of these flowers that are out here because they're looking kind of sick. I'm going to tell you what, they need some help. I'm not going to, you want to see them, I know, because you want to see what we've done to them. We sun scalded them. We put some flowers out here where, you know, it's just too hot on them. I'm going to have to transplant them. I'm just going to tell you, y'all. Sometimes we do things and we realize maybe I shouldn't have done that and should have not gotten such a hurry, but we wanted to get this done. So I'm going to put this fish fertilizer. It's for blooming. I'm going to put so much of it in each one of these. Now, I don't know how much each one of these are going to need, but I don't want to put too much. But I'm going to spray in, and generally what I do, I try not to get it on the blooms themselves if I can keep from it, in case it was to burn those leaves some way. And I have been trying to be careful of that, but sometimes that still happens. All right, this is getting loud. We're going to set this over here out of the way so we can keep talking because we're not ready for, oh, I'm going to get these right here. We'll see. Look here, guys. We'll come back here in a few, well, I'll say a week, and we'll see if these petunias really take a liking to this fish fertilizer, this phosphorus boost that we're giving them. And we'll see if they'll kick in, and I'll turn that off for now, lay that over here. Now, I'm gonna bring down here a little bit closer so we can see about what I'm gonna do with this bone meal. All right, guys, it's getting hot already, yeah. I'm gonna be working in the garage, clearing that all up on the next upcoming videos. Mary's gonna come help me on and off some this week. She's transitioning to a new job. She got a better job at a better place. She lives in Kentucky, so not too far, about an hour away, but she got a job where she's gonna be able to work from home. She starts June 1st, so she got to leave her other job early, and now she's helping me for the next few weeks. So she's not here today, but hopefully she'll be back tomorrow, and we're gonna clean and organize the garage because we got the succulent business I've been talking about that we're gonna start, and that's something that You can follow along and see our very first sale when we sell something. I think on the last video I showed the succulents. At the end of this video, if I think about it, I'll try to show them. But if not, you're going to see them real soon coming up. But let's look at this plant right here, this bean plant that you don't start beans from. I should have sowed these in ground about 3 weeks ago, maybe. I don't know. I don't know whether I'm like bush beans or if I'm gonna like vining beans, because I don't have any vining beans this year. I bought bush beans. So let's look at this. And I have some, if you've seen any of the videos I've done before in the past, I found some organic Miracle-Gro mulch, and we're gonna pull that back and then get into that soil and pull it back. And so let me get the camera down here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this and push and pull this mulch, and I don't want to mix in too much of my organic mulch in there, but this mulch, organic mulch, this wood, this is forest products, 100%, supposed to be 100% forest products. I'm going to loosen this soil up. As you can see, well, I got some roots growing in there already from other things that's coming around, but see how I'm loosening that soil up there good. And I can notice on this right here, on these beans, I'm gonna go ahead and dump this out for just a second. Kind of, you see right there where it's got the root, it don't want to stand up good. So I had put some out here earlier, and I'll show you those as we're watering over here in just a little bit. I don't know, this is not real stable. So that's the reason I like to put this right here. And, but so before we do that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in here and we're gonna put this bone meal, and this is gonna be kind of, I don't really measure that too much on these ingredients, because on the organic, this is not going to burn the roots. But we see that bone meal. We also see Angel coming over here wanting some of that bone meal, and actually probably could put a little bit on the roots, just a little bit. And we're gonna set that in there. Now, I want this to be able to reach up to here like that to help hold it up. So I need some soil in here. This is not what I need in there. This is too gritty, but this is gonna break down, and those earthworms that I'm gonna order and put in here will help break this down. And there's already earthworms coming. As long as I don't put chemical synthetic fertilizer in here to kill out my microorganisms, that's supposed to be good for it. So, all right, so let me go find some soil and I'll be right back. All right, I found a pot I had sitting over here that we transplanted something out of the other day. So I'm gonna use this soil here. It's got a little bit of earthy. In the raised beds, I like to have something that's light and fluffy that'll drain, that the roots can go through. Garden soil is completely different from what we're doing in the raised beds or containers, and we'll talk about that on an upcoming video. I found some garden soil, outdoor potting soil that works great, and we're going to talk about it because it's done these tomatoes back here. I planted one tomato in a pot with a certain potting soil that I'll tell you about in an upcoming video that's just absolutely blew everything else away compared to the raised bed. So anyways, back to the beans. We're talking about beans, blood meal, and nitrogen. So, and bone meal. Blood meal is nitrogen. We're going to put that in early when things are greening, but now we want them to bloom. So we're changing up to bone meal, and we have put and sprinkled some bone meal all around there. And we'll probably put a little bit more in this also as I put it in there, but let's look at this right here as I put this in. Okay, so I'm gonna put a few handfuls of this around. And this has been, this is pretty wet soil right now. I watered everything this morning about 6 o'clock. So now at that layer, we're gonna come back with one more ring of bone meal up here, and then we're going to definitely cover that up with some more of this soil. If not, Angel will be out here and she probably still will be out here. And so what I'm trying to do is build this up to cover these roots. Finding some stuff that we've recomposted in there, some old cabbage or lettuce or something in there. Okay, so now this is wet. This soil is very wet, very wet. So any fertilizer that I spray on there now will be diluted quite a bit by the moisture. So I'm going to wait on the liquid right now. I'm going to let this settle a little bit today and let this dry out here just a little bit, because this, even though I watered over here, it's still this, because what was in that pot was holding water way more. So, and one thing is, I do definitely want to come back and try to get, I found that it's not good to have soil left on the leaves, because it does make spots and deteriorate it. Now, I did not use gloves. So 3 more beans. We have one right down here. We're going to do the same thing. Okay, so we'll start pulling back a little bit. I'm going to need some more soil for this one too, but we'll go ahead and get some bone meal in here. And we'll kind of mix that a little bit in there. That's where I cut out some cabbage the other day, and we'll get that soil out of that. Break those roots in there. Those are compost down in there. We don't want that one hard root in there. And same thing with this one. Even though it is a bush bean, I want this bean plant to come up into this trellis, and I'm thinking it'll get 2 or 3 foot tall here. So as we can see here, I've got a magnolia over there. I don't know why I call those magnolias. Marigold over there. And so we're gonna put in a little bit of soil right there, put the bone meal over here to keep Angel away from it, and I'm gonna go find some more soil for this project. All right, so I just went and got another bag of this organic raised bed soil. You've seen me using it on a lot here. One of the big mistakes I made in my raised beds were I used garden soil in them. I did use this also on the top, but the garden soil will compact and not drain well. Where this is more earthy with more wood and forest debris type in it that will continue to break down, making organic matter, as long as I don't use the, tell me guys, synthetic fertilizer, you'll have an all organic bed as long as you don't use synthetic bug spray also. So a lot of times we want to use 7 dust and different things. It's actual chemicals. So some people even avoid anything for pests. Now I do treat my yard with a chemical for pests around the garden. I do use probably a synthetic bug killer of some kind to keep the bugs from trying to get here. In the garden itself, no, I'm not going to use a synthetic. But back to this, I use this on the top layers of my raised beds. This is what I wish I would have used all the way through, because I cheaped out and went for Stay Green. 1 cubic bag soil will come out 5 for $10. It's $2 a bag. So I don't know what issues that will cause, but I can fix it. I can aerate it with an auger, put perlite in different places if I find that I'm having water standing and pooling at some time when we have heavy rains. But we're going to put this in around this bean plant, put a little bit more bone meal, and hopefully get this going, looking good. They do look a little light. They're not very dark green, the leaves are here, and that is a sign of lack of nitrogen. But now beans actually make nitrogen themselves. They have some way of forming little nodules on the roots, and it absorbs nitrogen out of the oxygen, the air, and creates its own nitrogen, and actually is good for the other plants around it. So that's one of the good things about planting the beans in here. It does help provide some nitrogen. Okay, let's go back down here and look at this. We're gonna put a little bit more bone meal around this bean plant. Okay, I'm gonna put it right around down in here and on the back side. I'm understanding beans are very expensive this year, so I'm gonna pull some of this in here. And this raised bed soil almost looks like the same thing that I'm putting down for organic mulch. It kind of mixes together. It blends and works really good, guys. Can you see me? There I am. It kind of, using the organic mulch on top from Miracle Grow, that was very hard to find because Lowe's has no idea that they have it. It blends in together, decomposes, and breaks down and becomes soil itself, usable soil. So, all right, now this one here is nowhere near as damp as that one that we just planted, because that one, the soil I used on it was full of water. Now this one, okay, so I see a problem right here. I'm going to show you something I made some mistakes on before. Sloppy gardening. Oh, that was in there to help stand that up. We put that in there. Okay, so look right here. You see this soil? No, we don't want that soil on those leaves. See this here? Look at what I did. In planting this one, I actually got soil on this one's leaves, and that soil I'm finding will make bad spots. Now, this gourd still has its starter leaves down here growing. That's its seed leaves that's not been removed, and all of these are like that. Can you see that down there? You see those seed leaves? This is a ornamental gourd. Hopefully, these gourds will be something that we use to put succulents in, make gourd succulent pots. I don't know. Coming up with some ideas. So let's look right over here. You see this right here? See that? Very possibly I got soil on this and didn't wash it off that caused this. So that soil does not need to be on the leaves. And I can see that I've got some leaves over here on the ground with these tomatoes. I'm gonna definitely get those off the ground. I'm gonna trim the bottom leaves of everything to keep them off the mulch. They stay damp and they get diseased and they rot and they make the plant weak. I guess that's what I'm thinking. Anyways, let's go. I got one more bean plant somewhere and that I set out. I forgot where I put it at. I got to find it. We're going to put it in the ground, and that will conclude all of my current crops, planting them this year before June. Now we will start and we'll do a summer seeding for fall sometime. I don't know. There's some things we'll grow through the winter here. We'll start back cabbage and lettuce again, and I got to check on the celery. Somebody made a comment saying the celery was way too bushy or something. I don't know, it's just growing. I don't know nothing about it, so I need to see, maybe they said trim it. But I do have some leafy romaine here, and I got some ornamental gourds growing over here, and let me show you this one. Look at this one. It's got a white pattern in it. That's not from something that's been sprayed on it. Each one of these ornamental gourds are different. They're a mixed pack that I bought. It's a surprise. And some of them, we'll see what they look like. You know, we don't know. I've always bought gourds every year to decorate with at Thanksgiving. So this year, okay, I see I got a little bit of soil over here on this marigold. So when planting, make sure don't get soil from one plant onto the other on the leaves. I did that in the back, especially. I've got a whole section in the back. If you've not seen that, it's called The Cheap Way of Planting and Growing. It's there in the backyard. And I got too much soil on the leaves as I planted them. and they got soil on them. It made the leaves bad. It's coming back today. We're not going back there this morning to show you, but in a few days we'll go back and check on the watermelons I planted. I planted watermelons, about 7 watermelons, cantaloupe. I got about 45 plants in the backyard that we're gonna go look at, but not today. We're gonna do some other things today. And so every few days, I hope to bring you a video to update you. So I'm gonna find that other plant. I'm gonna plant that. We won't film planting that one, but I am gonna film maybe using some of the fertilizer on some of the tomatoes and things. So we'll finish up this video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. It makes me know that you at least have some interest in what I'm doing when you subscribe. I'd like to say thanks to everybody that has followed along on somebody that's never done this before. It's quite a learning journey, but if I can do it and I've never done it before, you can do it also. Just takes some work and some more work and doing a little bit more work. But thankfully, I got everything out here on all the beds and planted the trellises up and everything before June. I got everything planted and it all went pretty much on time. Very little delays on anything that I was doing here, so everything's went good. Now we've got a whole new project, like I said, in the back that where we plant it directly into mounds of soil, and that was, I think, the last video I did. And we plant it into the mounds, and I put down landscaping fabric over top of that, and then over time I'm going to develop that strip there and build it up on one side to get soil. It's on a bank. Fix it to where I can put bird netting on it to keep perennials back there like blueberries and grapes and things like that. So so I can enclose those to keep the birds and the deers and the raccoons and the possums and the gophers and the groundhogs and you name it, everything's coming to eat in the backyard, I'm sure, because here in the front yard, they kind of know, well, that's the front yard and we can keep an eye on it better. But in the back, they're going to sneak in more. And I've lost all my strawberries to birds. They had a good spring here eating strawberries. So hopefully, I've got some new things coming up here this week. We're going to do some we're going to do 5-gallon pots and plant the strawberries in them. We're going to take them out of the raised bed so that we can put some bird netting over them somehow. So they're going to go in square 5-gallon pots I ordered. There's more pots coming, and it means I'm going to need 20. I ordered 20 of these pots, 5-gallon pots. It means I'm going to need 20 more bags of soil. At $10 a bag on what I've been using, that I'm going to tell you about on the tomato plant back here. And if you watch me plant that tomato plant in the container back there, you might remember what I potted it with, and it has done excellent. But that's about $10 for, I think, 1 cubic foot, and 1 cubic foot might do, I think, fill up a 5-gallon bucket, maybe have a little left over. But I'm going to use that on most of them. But I also might do a soil test and use some cheaper brands of potting soil and mix on the outside. So all right, I'm going to get over here and get this last bean planted, and then we'll water some things after I plant that. All right, guys, we got these flowers out here that I know very little about, but we're going to give them a little bit of this fertilizer. And what I'm going to do, so you can hear me talking, is I'm going to leave the power off on it. And I've got my strawberries out here. Made a bad mistake on the strawberries. We heard that, hey, take and put fake strawberries, paint rocks, and the birds will come down, see the fake strawberries, peck on them, realize they're no good to eat, and never come back. No, that was not a thing that I believe was beneficial at all. I think it just drawed in more birds, actually. So I love this little sprayer. Probably hard to hear me right now. But it's got a pump, it just charges up. It's got a built-in battery, and it's going to do this Alaska Fish Fertilizer that we put in here, the phosphorus, I think it's the 10 or 15% phosphorus is good for bloom. So we're hoping we can get these to looking better. I planted these out here in the open sun. No, those are not good for open sun. Some of these were for shade or partial shade. Now I might not be putting enough in here, but I can come back if I see there's no major effects, negative effects from using the fertilizer, I guess you would call it. Then I can come back and add some more, but trying not to still get it on the leaves. And I'm trying not to get it on anything that's not blooming. Now some of these small pepper plants are not blooming, and some of the things like the basil would still need what? It's green, it's not blooming, so it's probably going to need nitrogen more than it is phosphorus. So I do have some zucchinis coming out already over here, and a small cucumber. So that's always exciting to see some of your first fruits. And then we have tomatoes coming out, so this will be good for the tomatoes. So they do make a lot of specialized chemical fertilizer. Miracle Grow, a synthetic fertilizer for those. And if you're just doing container growing, maybe you're not so much worried about having an ecosystem growing in your soil. And you can use, a synthetic fertilize more in a pot situation instead of a bed situation like this, where we're trying to keep the microorganism going. Now, the Episoma root tone has a specialized formula for putting in microorganisms, microbes into the ground for your plants, so they'll attach to the roots. And that sounds kind of bad, having microorganisms attached to the roots of your plants, but actually it's not a bad thing at all. It's something that would benefit the way it takes up nutrients and water. I'm no scientist. I know nothing except what I'm learning online, and I know I've got a lot to learn, but I'm hoping to have some success. And we have harvested our very first harvest here on the homestead, and that's lettuce. So yeah, that was something we did a video on that came out this morning. Can you see me? I'm all the way back here. I'll bring that camera up a little bit closer. As this gets empty, I'm going to have to, I've already went through 2 gallons of this morning right here. So I'm going to turn it off and let what's in here left come out. Now I'm going to bring that camera on over here. I've got some bean plants over here that I planted a week ago, I'm going to think. And I did plant them and then put the all-purpose Episoma garden and vegetable fertilizer in there. But that's something, oh my goodness, now look at that mistake. This got empty and light and it fell over onto my tomato plant. No harm, but could have been catastrophe. Let me get that and bring that on over here and let me fill up this sprayer one more time so we'll have a little bit more. Looks like we're going to need about 8 of these this morning. Okay, we got a couple of beans on this one right here. Check that out. That one is planted a week ago. Got more blooms coming on it. So that one's going to get some fertilizer on it. When we look at this one is pale. It's not as dark a green, telling me it didn't get quite as much nitrogen probably. But this is cucumber plant that's coming up doing very well, growing. And here is one of our little cucumbers coming in. So those, we do have a few strawberries the birds haven't got yet. There was just a bird over here a minute ago in here that I ran off trying to get some. We got some here. So unfortunately we're going to be probably replanting these again so that we can find a safer place for them from the birds. So we see this pepper plant here is quite bushy and but no blooms much. This one's got a few blooms. I don't know, a few blooms here. I don't think the pepper plants will get much of this fish fertilizer today. I'm not seeing too many of them with blooms on them. I kind of kept the blooms picked off of them so they could grow and get bushier. So these are still in the greening stage, but we definitely have some strawberries that can use it, and we have some tomatoes. Let's look right here. No blooms on this one, no tomatoes. No tomatoes, but this one does have tomatoes and a few blooms, and this one does, and this one does. And these are the ones that were stunted. They were put out when it was a little too cold, only for a few days. Then brought back inside, and here's one with a tomato on it. So that one's going. We'll get some of that fish fertilizer on that. And we got some over here. These look like going to be Cherokee purple tomatoes, possibly the way they're shaping, and here's some on this one. So all of this bed in here will get some more of that fish fertilizer, and so maybe I won't need quite as much as I originally thought, but I still have the backyard also that's got stuff in it. So I'm going to get to spraying some more fertilizer here. All right, guys, I'm going to finish this up, and it's going to take a few hours probably time I go to the backyard and do that also. It's getting hot. Probably not the best time now that I've let it get after 9 o'clock this morning to put this on, but I'm going to try to get these tomatoes done real quick, so I'm going to quit filming so I can work a little faster. So make sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to see how this turns out, how things are going for somebody, the first time grower that's never grown before. It's just a matter of following some information that's already out there, learning from people that's already done it, and that's what I've been doing, is watching a lot of YouTube videos and doing a lot of internet research when I have a question about things. Well, I'm gonna let y'all go. Remember now, what's the difference between blood meal and bone meal? Blood meal's for the spring, for the nitrogen to make things green, and the bone meal is to make those blooms come out, and they're both organic. But to get something quick, immediately right now to release it, we're using an organic liquid fertilizer, fish fertilizer that has phosphorus in it. Can't say that, phosphorus, phosphorus and potassium in it. The potassium's all around good for it to health of the roots and be able to make the roots absorb nutrients and water good. So I'm still learning. I'm by far no expert because I've only been doing this for 2 months. I'm 2 months into it, and I enjoy it immensely, and got some exciting things coming up about the succulent business we're starting. Can't wait to show you some of that stuff that's going on. We got to up pot a bunch of succulents this week and up pot some peppers, and we'll be doing that in the garage, hopefully, most part of it, unless it cools down some. Hoping it cools down because the heat has been very stressful on these new plants out. But they're hanging in there, considering their daddy is a newbie and has never done this before. Guys, Make sure to hit the subscribe button. God bless you. See you on the next video. Bye-bye.